want, like, these are people who see themselves as gods, who want to be world historical figures. They're literally.
You think they do that? Who do you think is doing that?
Well, like Jeff Bezos, for instance. Right?
You think he thinks himself as a god?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You don't?
Nah, I read those text messages he sent to that chick. I don't think a god would say that.
But
a god would say, you should be lucky to get this dick.
All the space exploration stuff, though, it's like, the, like, people are obsessed with that. And the life extension.
But don't you think that that's just a side effect of having $150 billion?
But you can do so much good with that.
Yes.
So Bezos is pouring $1 billion a year into his space exploration project, which is like, I mean, I'm excited by space too. I think it'd be cool to go up there, but there's some pressing problems here which we could really benefit. That money could really benefit. And
I agree, but long term, I think the philosophy is that we're going to have to get off this planet. And if the human race is going to succeed, because of not just the threat of global warming, but of asteroidal impacts and many other factors.
It's an asteroid thing, I think. I mean, for me,
supernovas. There's a lot of factors.
On the particular question of climate, there's just no way that the Earth is going to get as inhospitable as Mars is. So the idea of building a colony there as a hedge against global warming is just crazy. It
is ridiculous. Yeah. But on the positive note, if we could fix that shithole, like imagine what we could do here.
Yeah, paradise.
Well, the idea is terraforming, right? That they're going to go there with some kind of massive machine that's going to create oxygen in the environment, and it's a good place to practice because no one lives there. Right. So you could do all kinds of goofy shit and go, well, good news and bad news. The good news is we figured out a way to terraform. The bad news is we already fucked up Mars. So we're going to try another spot. We're going to go to, we're going to move on to some
Uranus.
Other planet. Yeah.
Well, Venus used to be actually quite Earth-like. Yeah. And they went through a really rapid global warming that made it, now it's like a total hellhole.
Right.
And that's like the sort of worst case for Earth is the Venus scenario.
Well, ultimately, the sun's going to burn out, right?
But that's many millions of years away.
Sure, but if we really do look into the future, something has to be done. I mean, this is on the grandest of grand scales, the concept of some sort of interstellar arcs.
I mean, I believe that. I'm with it. I just think the timescale of the threat that we need to avert by space exploration, that's a timescale of millennia.
Yes.
We have a lot of new technology to develop over the next 1,000 years that'll allow us to do it better and more efficiently. But climate change, the timescale is like the next 30 years.
Right.
So we need to focus on it now to give ourselves the opportunity to do the other shit.
Why do you think it's sexier to go to space? Is that what it is? Like rockets and?
I mean, I think for these dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big metal dick shooting off in the atmosphere. That's what we're doing. We're trying to fuck space. I actually made that argument about Mars.
Yeah.
That it's like they're shaped like dicks. It's
yeah.
Like, there's something to that.
Yeah. Well, also this generation of people really grew up in the age of like the space race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and the aftermath of landing on the moon. And I think there is, like Peter Thiel talks about this, there's this kind of unfulfilled sense of future that we all, like anybody who grew up in the post-war years in the 60s, 70s, they were like, you know, whatever his famous line, we were promised flying cars and all we got was 140 characters or whatever. Yeah. I think that applies to the space exploration stuff. It's like, well, the government is no longer doing the really ambitious shit.
Right.
But we can do it privately. On the other hand, there is a government in the world that is doing that shit in China. They just landed on the far side of the moon. They're doing really aggressive space exploration. And I haven't been there in 20 years, but the people I know who live there say there is so much faith in the future there. They just believe in a very inherent, deep down way that like the future will be better and sci-fi-y in an exciting way. And that's so foreign from the way that Americans think about the future.
Is that part of the benefit of having a dictator run things?
I think it's just like they're on a huge upswing.
Right. But it's so also like there's no debate about how things get done.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, that's what I was saying before. It's like it gives you some hope for climate. If like Xi Jinping is just like, okay, immediately no more coal, they'll all stop. You know, but he's also throwing 2 million Muslims in concentration camps.
Right. Yeah. This Bezos thing, I mean, I'm not criticizing you because I think it's a very common thought, but why is it that when we look at these super rich billionaire characters that are on the top of the heap, why do we think of them as like having these tremendous egos and looking like gods? Isn't it sort of that's just how you're always going to look at someone who lives in a $100 million house? And
it's possible. I think when you look at I mean, not to get too like armchair psychologizing about Bezos, but when you look at the physical transformation that he's put himself through, when you think about like the life extension,
What has he done physically?
well, he's just like, I mean, if you look at photos of him when he's like a young man, he's, you know, just kind of like dweeby.
Right.
And now he's like an action hero.
Is he really?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not like you, but he's pretty.
Is Bezos jacked? Am I missing something?
Let me show
It
you.
definitely looks different.
Well,
Yeah.
pull up some images of Jeff Bezos jacked. I didn't know.
But
Well, he got a trainer. I mean,
no, I'm not blaming him, but that's only one part of it. I would say bigger than that is, you know, the just how thin-skinned the world's.
okay, let me say, zoom in. Well, I guess he's got some arms. Yeah. There he is. Oh, wow, that's a big difference. Yeah, but he's also got a vest on. I guess his arms do look pretty big. Yeah.
I mean,
there's
I'm
some veins.
not I'm in most ways I'm not a Bezos hater. I think Amazon has been actually really pretty great.
I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I like listening to the guy talk. And I loved his letter to the National Enquirer. There he is right
Yeah.
there. Yeah, so he looks fit
Yeah,
in front of the King Kong Rampage movie. Is
Yeah.
that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. Okay, I guess physical transformation, but that's probably.
but life extension, like
Yeah.
uploading your brain to the computer. There's so many.
Is he into that shit?
He is actually, I think, not as into it as some other people.